their chest piece, that little this thing, the shield. I like that. It has like that with that slight angle. It gives it the
Yeah,
old school feel.
yeah, that was what I was going for.
What
Uh,
what set is this from? Like what model? Where does it is like a what's the squad that it's in?
this is Blade Guard Veterans
Okay, okay. Do all the blade guards
from
come with a shield
obviously Space Marines. You mean the chest one or the one on his hand?
on the one on his hand?
Yeah, they all should do. You have
Okay,
three per models and three shields.
okay,
It's
cool.
part of their basic kit.
I out of the newer Primaris, those are some of my favorites.
Yeah, same here. I absolutely love these models.
I thought it was like a cool shield. They just got a lot of good stuff going on, so I was enjoying those. Oh, I gotta make sure I check here on chat. I gotta pull that up. There. We're pretty late, aren't we? No, I think no, we started on time. So anyone watching, appreciate it first off, and second off is there will probably be some dog barking and some stuff, so I might have to pause audio here at some point. But if I do, I'll be returning shortly. I'm not going far. I was working on. So you gave me this just earlier today, and I was like, oh, I wanted to do something. You had a grass kind of base, and I was like, you know what? I'm going to sort of go with it, and I wanted it like it's outside, like after the battle. I got to go dark so I can push up the light on it because I wanted to have the nice glowing
Yeah,
sword. So I wanted to kind of stand out against the. And I got to keep working on it more. But right now it's like in a dark phase. But I'm gonna lighten it up some so you can see more. But I wanted to start with the good like blue glowing blade that he's holding. So get some nice glow on that thing. And you were painting
yeah, sounds
earlier.
like a good plan.
You were painting
Yeah,
earlier. What model were you painting on?
I honestly don't even know what line this is from. It was a backlog one I just picked up to do something different.
Okay.
But it's wood elf
All right.
sorcerer or druid of some sort, and I'm kit bashing it a tiny little bit to make a necromancer.
Gotcha. All right.
Unfortunately, the camera won't focus on it, but
Yeah.
there she is.
It has a
We're
head on
not
the
getting any
staff.
luck.
Yeah, it looks a pretty cool like skull on the
Yeah,
staff
it's
or
it's
something.
an orc skull.
Okay.
It's yeah.
What's on your back wall? What's on your back wall behind you?
Oh, that's my
Wait,
poison. It's Transformers.
is it? Wait. I'm gonna make your camera a little bigger just so we can see this because I was curious. I'm like, oh wow, that
Yeah,
is
so you got Street
Transformers.
Fighter there as well.
Okay.
That's the Street Fighter boys. And most of it, yeah, it's Transformers.
Okay.
Initial, not initial, Vampire Hunter D there.
Oh, okay. You got yeah. That's a cool display. I always like displays like that. Oh, the Forge of Mars. I'm listening whilst eating my roast dinner. Yeah, Forge of Mars. Okay, we gotta. You eat your roast dinner, and I was telling Griff he didn't know about the Titan Walk thing. So I'm gonna bring up. I'm gonna switch monitors. And I'm gonna show a couple pictures of this thing. It's crazy. One, two. Wait, A12. There we go. All right. So the first one I wanted to see. You had a couple videos. Wait, let me see this. I want to find a couple of the big. That's a good photo. I want to find a couple of the. Oh, we're gonna have dog issues now. Oh, here's a video, but it's gonna be tiny. I mean, look at them all. I don't know how to make this video bigger. Which no, they did a couple. I'll try to see this one. It's so tiny on here. That's a bummer. I can't make it larger. Where is? Here, I tweeted one out, I think, that gives you the idea. Now it's freezing up. Huh. I don't know why that's happening.
It looks like a super interesting event, though.
Yeah, I don't even know how many Titans there are. There's like it looks like over 100. I'll have to when if I can get them later, I'll get those photos. But that was pretty crazy, and they got a lot of the people on Instagram and everything have been showing them, but I just don't have it up, and it was just pretty intense. They and they have like the whole log, so like people are keeping track of their kills or whatever. So they have like a whole list of like what's been killed and all that kind of stuff. So that was cool to see, and I don't know where they had it, but it's like it looked like a hall basically, and they're all just playing on the floor because it's so many of them.
Yeah.
Do
I
you play?
imagined they wouldn't fit on your 6x4.
No, yeah, all the full size ones. Do
No,
you get to play at all?
I've stopped playing. No, I've stopped playing when the COVID hit,
Okay.
and I've not been really able to get back
Oh
into
no.
it. But I still enjoy the hobby, really. I really enjoy the painting side of it. I
Yeah,
find
you
it
did.
super relaxing.
Absolutely. Oh, that's cool. So you basically you must have heard of it before. Like, what prompted you to actually go and get into it?
Oof, what? That's a funny story actually, because I started playing Dungeons and Dragons with someone that showed me a couple of Grey Knights models,
Okay.
and I picked up a box to try and mod into D&D characters. Gave up on it because they were too techy, and just went, you know what? I'm going to start a Grey Knights army, and
Oh
away I
no, that
went.
makes total sense. That's a cool way to do it. Okay, good. What's funny is
Yeah, just
I started with D&D back in like I don't even know, probably 70s or something. So it's like that was the same thing. It
yeah.
was that, and then I found in the 80s, I like found 40K, and then always like dug the aesthetic and everything. They got great. The world for me because I'm getting more back into it because I've only been basically back into the quote unquote community maybe like a for like a year and a half. You know what I mean? I always liked the games and always saw the stuff, but never really interacted with the people, behind it or whatever.
Yeah.
So it's been cool. It's just been cool to get back into it. And now they put out so many more models than they used to and everything. There's just such a variety coming out.
Oh, absolutely. They've been pumping out models like crazy. I do feel a bit bad because it's mostly Space Marine stuff at the moment,
Yeah.
but hopefully they'll start focusing on the other factions a bit as well. Because look, I shouldn't really be complaining because I play Space Marines mostly,
Yeah, but
but,
yeah.
but give something to the other guys as well.
Well, you have to. That's what makes the game. And I mean, that has been a battle for like ever, and it's got to come down to like the finances and what they sell and everything. Because forever, everybody wanted more. More Xenos, more whatever. Just whatever else. Oh, there goes the dog barking.
Yeah, you want to see variety on the table at the end of the day, don't you? Because otherwise you'll be fighting, I don't know, a Dark Eldar army and they all look the same.
Yeah, I hopefully. I mean, at that rate. I don't know what they're going to introduce. Like, what did they do? I mean, they've done a lot more with the orcs recently. So I think the orcs are both like
Yeah,
they've gotten a lot of love, so that's a good sign.
no,
I don't know what else.
which is great, really.
Yeah, yeah,
They've done a little bit with the Necrons as well, but I think it was mostly like two new additions, if I'm
yeah. You're
remembering
right.
correct. One
Yeah,
big AU unit and like its bodyguards or something.
they did. I think a couple because there was ones I never liked the Necron. I was like, Necrons didn't do anything for me. And then when they started releasing the new ones, it was crazy. I was like, wow, those are actually really good. They got some interesting effects and everything going on with like how they're formed. Uh oh. Wait, I think they're. Hang on, I'm gonna go. Wait, I'm gonna see something. Maybe the dog will stop barking.
Yeah, no worries.
Forge of Mars. Oh, hotel conference room is where Forge of Mars was. All right, give me 1 second. You can talk to him. There's a few people in here. I'll be back in literally 1 minute. I just gotta chill the puppy out.
Yeah, go for it. So, chat, what was your introduction to the hobby? What brought you along into Warhammer? Sorry if I'm taking a bit of a while to reply to you guys, but there seems to be a bit of a delay between stream and my chat. Oh, you, my pretty face.
All right, I'm back.
Welcome back.
Thank you. How many have you played D&D first? Did you paint miniatures for that? And you have all the models. So were you painting models or anything like that before?
Yeah, I painted a fair couple of them as my beginner character,
Okay.
and it just went on from there. I still have my very first model actually right here on my hobby desk,
Oh, do
just
you?
as a reminder of yeah, in a little box. Let's
Yeah.
see if
Oh,
you
that's
can
cool.
see
Yeah, the
that.
case. What unit? What character?
Yeah, it was a half orc fighter,
All right.
Ulik.
What's up, Coach? Thanks for joining us. Sparkle Ghost. Appreciate you guys stopping by.
There we go.
Yeah, Bruno has a lot of figures behind him. We never spoke before, and we just hooked up the cam to look good. And I was like, oh, like I see this nice wall. All set. I get jealous. Everyone has like these nice walls with like display miniatures, and I have like, what do I have up in here? I really have nothing up in here. I'm like, I gotta put some stuff up. I get all. Or I see everyone's streams too. You know, they have like this their desk all,
Yeah.
like set up and everything. Man, I don't have anything set up. Rob, thanks for making it.
No,
Rob,
I had the setup for a bit of gaming, but it never went anywhere, unfortunately.
mm-hmm. Well, yeah.
Anne is asking me how many figures I have behind me. I never counted. I'm not going to start now. There's a bit too many to be counting.
We're gonna wait. I'll give a little room here. So yeah, you can see that whole wall behind him. Oh, there. That's a.
Yeah, let me drop.
Here, wait. I'll zoom in real quick. Let me see it solo. Oh, there you
Yeah,
go.
go for it.
Oh, that's a nice collection there. Yeah, I don't have anything like that. I have boring. And then I'm kind of like a minimalist. Like the more stuff I have, the more I have to, I don't know, like keep track of or clean around or whatever. So like, I have one thing I'm like, man, I'm not going to use that. Like I'd start buying, and I haven't painted a miniature in forever. And I started to buy a few, and I'm like, okay, you'll do some, so hang on. But then I started wanting more and more, and I'm around all these games now. Like I'm seeing miniatures from all these different game systems and different things I like, and I'll want to get all kinds of stuff. I'm like,
Oh
no,
yeah.
pump the brakes. You didn't even paint, your first models, so don't get ahead of yourself.
No, I can get that because I have a fair few Infinity models. I don't even play the game, but it's just
Yeah,
really, really an amazing line.
you know what I have
I just
seen.
love those models.
Yeah, I've seen some good ones come out of there. I'm not super familiar with it, but I know Infinity, and I was like, They had some good stuff come out. I seen.
Yeah,
Rob was at the
I
that Titan event. So he was at the Titan walk and he got what do you say? Got a Titan kill with each of my engines today. It was an amazing event. Yeah, so I think it was like a 2-day event. And wait, one thing I wanted to show on Forge of Mars. I want to show one picture. I love this picture. We briefly seen it, but I didn't show it. Here, I'm going to get it bigger on my other screen. This is so cool. All right, give me a quick second. We'll just go here real quick. Solo. So I love this picture. It has the top of, it's
oh,
not a
that
warlord.
looks
Yeah.
absolutely sick.
Yeah. And you see that great angle and you come out of it. And I'm like, and I know this has to be the game. So I'm like, dude, this is like them playing the game. It looks so cool. It's like a great scene you're seeing from the top of the Titan, down there. I was like, oh man, you could totally, Photoshop in like the ground and mountains behind them and laser fire and everything. But I just thought this is a great shot.
Yeah,
I haven't seen anything like it too much. And I'm like, you got the close
uh,
up top view. So that was a great picture, Lee. That thing is awesome.
just put some skates on it. It's like walking a baby.
You
Seriously, they're
know, look at
huge.
how that's what I couldn't even. These are so big, and like the whole. How many were there? How many Titans were there? Someone will know in chat. Someone has to. All right, I'm gonna switch back. Go. Watch the replies. I gotta switch over. I'm
Yeah,
still.
Forge of Mars is saying about nomads. I was more into the Yujing models myself because
Oh
of
yeah.
the Asian mix into them, and also the Panosciania because they look very knightly.
Yeah, oh, I know. Anything kind of nightly draw.
Definitely,
You're the same as me. Like something nightly draws me in. I'm like, if it's got some pseudo night whatever. I'm like, I'm curious.
yeah, 100%.
Spook wants to have a
I
chapters with
started
what
with
spells.
yeah, I started with the Yujing because of the anime inspired look, like the 80s power armors and such. But I ended up going right back into the Panoceania because of the knights. They're
Yeah,
just too
can't get
good
away.
looking to pass out on.
They said
Yeah,
at that Titan Walk event there were 92 Titans and 73 Knights. That's ridiculously cool. It's got to be that's got to be like the biggest Titan
yeah.
fight, I would assume. Like, you know what I mean? That's kind of crazy. Sparkle Ghost
Just
asked me.
left a link.
Wait, Sparkle Ghost asked me
Yeah, go for it.
also,
Go for it.
do you usually edit pictures in Procreate? You know what? Yes, that's probably my preferred way to do it now. It's literally all these. I think a couple I took out into Corel Painter, but not for any real reason, just because I forget I had to apply a filter or do something like that I wanted to control. Oh, you got the
Yeah,
link.
I'm not much of a photo editor. I use a couple of phone apps to play around a little bit, but obviously nothing close to this.
That's all you need. I mean, it's whatever your purpose is for. I don't think most photos probably don't need much. Like, I'm obviously going and doing more to it. You know what I mean? But I mean, for photo editing, just to like crop and like get your saturation levels and whatever. They have some cool effects and stuff you can do now. With like, you know what I mean? Just how they have like different apps that add things, and they're just getting I'm seeing ones that like have some actual uses, like, oh, you can take a picture of like, say it's a miniature and then maybe it like clips out the miniature and adds a background or whatever.
Yeah, yeah. It's one of the ones I use does exactly that. Movie effects, I think it is.
Okay.
It just cleans up. No, sorry, it's not that one. Let me have a quick look here. Movie effects adds grass and lightning and all that. And the other one is Motion Leap. That's the one.
Okay.
Motion Leap just cleans out everything for you and adds a little layer if you want
Hmm.
like rain or something. So yeah,
I forget what
it's just a bit of a weird mix I have to go through.
and you said
But I'm yeah,
no. Go. What were you gonna say? And then I'll ask you
I
after.
said no, just saying that it's a bit of a weird mix I have to go through because it's all very on the phone. I am considering getting Procreate though because I finally got my hands on an iPad, so I might do
Oh
that.
yeah, it's for sketching for. I mean, I'm basically doing the equivalent of like photoshopping in this. There's a lot you can do with it for the program it is. It's incredible. Like to me, I'm like it's more bang to your buck than like tons of stuff. So that's one of the programs I'm super happy with. The okay, one
Yeah,
more.
it looks very intuitive as well.
It is.
Because
It's
I'm
very
seeing you
friendly.
obviously as you go along, and it looks very friendly, especially if you know a little bit about Photoshop.
Yes.
It
You
doesn't look
only
like you
need
will be completely out
that's
of your
it.
depth.
There's only like, 10 real places you click a lot. You know what I mean? So it's like brush size, pick your brush, pick your layer, so it's not like anything crazy and it's very friendly for that. So like as far as like someone wants to draw or
I
sketch,
get you.
it's awesome. All right, you brought up when we talked just briefly before this, you brought up Street Fighter.
Yeah,
Okay, so wait, now I
it's
played an ungodly amount of Street Fighter 2 back in the day. So what are you like streaming it now? Or and like I stopped as soon as he said he plays Street Fighter. I'm like, okay, hold up. I'm like, we're stopping right there because we gotta go over this on the live show. Because I already because video games, oh man. Uh so what do you do with it? Are you playing like a new one or do you stream or what's the
no. Well, Street Fighter is currently on 5, but the netcode that allows you to play online is pretty garbage.
yeah.
So, so unfortunately, you either have a godlike internet connection or
Yeah.
you won't be streaming it and playing it. It'll just start looking like a Dragon Ball game where
Yeah.
everyone just teleports.
Yeah.
So yeah, unfortunately, I can't stream it as my upload speeds aren't brilliant.
It's
And yeah, but I do play it quite a bit. It's just more of a casual thing. I don't go all
when
aggro
did
on
you
it or
start
anything
playing?
anymore.
When do you think you started playing Street Fighter?
Oh, I can pinpoint that. I started playing in the early 90s when I used to sneak into the arcade parlors with my older brother, and we used to play along. But yeah, because I was always a pretty big and tall kid, so
Yeah,
they
you could
wouldn't
get
even
away with it.
suspect I was under 16. Yeah. So yes, I started playing on the old World Warrior, the first iteration of Street Fighter 2,
Yeah,
and it just stuck with me.
yeah. I play.
Absolutely love it though.
I oh my gosh, when I don't play, I rarely play. If I play video games now, I'll play like a game like that lasts like 10 minutes, and maybe I'll play it twice, and then that's good. For like I lack the I can't stay into a video game like I used to. That game, Street Fighter 2, I used to
Yeah.
go to this arcade and so mind you, I didn't know anyone there, but I used to go in there a lot, and it would get to a point where on a weekend, when it was the winner stayed, loser paid. So that was the rule at the arcade.
Yeah.
I could go there in the morning, and I did it a few times. I stayed the whole day playing Street Fighter. I'd be there like 8 hours, and I would not leave the machine. And that's how many I won. I'd win the whole streak, and I was like so happy. The I didn't know the people, right? But I was there so much. The people
Yeah,
who
yeah.
ran it, they gave me what they did is it was in a mall and they would they would close the gate when their hours closed, but they wouldn't lock it to the floor. So they leave it like 6 inches open. They had a Street Fighter machine in the back room, and they used to let me in there, and it had the thing open, so it was unlimited games. You just play as much as you wanted. And all they said was, "Here, just flick off the lights,
Yeah,
and when you leave, lock the gate and go." And so like they didn't even know me, and they were just like letting me stay in there at night,
that's the good
play the
life.
games at this place in the mall. I'm like, that's so crazy that you just like
Oh,
let me
because
like, here,
you
man,
were
stay.
absolutely yeah, but you were making them a mint during the day. Everybody just jumping in for,
Yeah,
2 99-second rounds and just
yeah.
off you go.
But that was always funny
Get
because I'm
another
like, you
coin in
let
if you
your
want to keep going.
strange, I think I was driving, so I mean, I had to be probably like 17, somewhere in there. I don't know, 18, but I'm like, they was just letting you in there and be like, okay, bye. I'm like, that stuff would not fly these days.
Yeah.
Sparkle, are
No,
you still
absolutely
lurking?
not.
No. Do you play any? So, what other kind of like, if any type of game, it can be like a board game or an RPG or a video game. Like, what do you get to game much at all, or what?
Not too much, unfortunately. Work keeps me busy, but I've recently been playing It Takes Two with a friend, and that's
Okay.
been quite enjoyable. It's mostly a puzzle game, like puzzle
Yeah.
as in
Yeah.
uh, one of you has to do something to allow the other one to pass through, a bit like Lost
Yeah.
Vikings, if you
Oh, that's
remember
kind of
that
cool.
one.
I didn't know it was like that. I've heard the game, but I didn't know anything about it. I didn't know it was that. That's kind of cool.
Yeah, it's the same kind of puzzles. One person has to, but you absolutely need two players at all times.
Yeah.
The title really does say it all. It takes two.
Yeah.
There's no single player mode.
Yeah. They let you know up front.
And yeah, one of you presses a switch, the other one goes across, presses a switch on the other side so that you can get across,
Okay.
and it keeps going on and on like that. It's really,
So,
really
like
fun.
interactive kind of co-op problem solving.
Yeah, absolutely. And it's
Okay.
ridiculous. It's just so much fun. Every level has a different gimmick, every
Yeah.
level has a different theme, and it's super, super fun.
Huh.
The thing
Good to
is
know.
that because of its aesthetic being very toy-like,
Yeah.
because you play two clay
Oh, all
figurines,
right. Yeah.
and so you're going around between play sets or
Okay. Yeah.
parts of a
Yeah.
house, and it's always changing. Super, super diverse. It's a lot of fun.
Huh. Good to know. Yeah, I never knew what I saw it like trending and people playing and stuff, but didn't know kind of what it was about.
Yeah, it's
Excuse me.
definitely very entertaining.
What about okay, Lee, who is the Forge of Mars, who usually Wednesday show he's co-host with our show or whatever, and um oh my gosh. That's how short my attention span is. By the time I started talking about that to now, I forgot why I was even bringing him up. I was looking at another screen for like chat, and then it totally just slipped my mind why I brought up Lee. That's hilarious. What you watch any? You probably don't get any chance for like any movies or shows, like any kind of show you're into or anything.
Oh, I've been keeping track of the Marvel stuff 100%.
Okay, you
But
have.
other
All
than
right.
that, not really.
Were you
Yeah,
ever a
I've
comic
really,
collector as
really
a
been
kid or now
enjoying
or
the
anything?
what. Oh, yeah, yeah. We used to get the comic books in translated to Brazilian because I'm from Portugal.
Oh, are
So
you?
we used to
Oh,
get the Brazilian editions. Yeah. And we used to get the Brazilian translated editions, and it was just well, let's just put it like once I got my hands on actual original English or
mhm.
American English comics, I just stuck with that and never looked back.
Do you still
Some
okay,
of the
wait.
translations were not great.
Did you do you have any comics that were translated to in for Brazil? Any like
I
I mean
don't
not on you, but
have
still in
any
your
more of the.
possession?
No, no, no. I don't have any of the Brazilian ones anymore, but I do
Oh,
have
bummer. I was just
some
like I've never seen
fairly
that. I'd like to
recent
see some of
Portuguese
them
from
that were
Portugal.
yeah. And I was like, I didn't know if they translated them and you had them
Actually,
from
saying
Brazil.
that,
Like I never
uh,
saw it with
I
like
might
a Marvel
have
comic from them.
the Infinity Saga.
Oh,
I
interesting.
might still have my copies of the Infinity Saga in Brazilian
Okay.
Portuguese, the original comics, but
Yeah.
I wouldn't have a lot of them survive. No, the
No,
paper
that's
was
like
also not the best
because that's got to be kind of rare for
because
them.
it's a reprint.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Huh.
they're not very common anymore. No,
No, no, just
but
be
that's a
something to
good thing to
have.
be
Yeah, I
honest
didn't even.
because the
Yeah.
because the normal editions are much superior.
What what comic books did you like?
I was mostly into the Powerhouse comics, and I'm
Yep.
still very much into that. So your big bruisers like Thor,
Okay.
in a bit of the X-Men, but Colossus would be my
Oh
favorite
yeah, he's
character.
yeah. Colossus is one of mine.
Hulk,
Yeah. All right.
yeah,
That's
Hulk,
good.
Superman. I'd usually try to stick to the powerhouses.
Yeah, yeah. Huh.
I've been
When
finding myself some miniatures of Colossus as well to
I,
paint,
I
and
haven't seen.
every different STL find I find printed,
Yeah,
painted.
that's. I wonder that Marvel game. I wonder if they sell. I don't know if I've seen Colossus through that Marvel game. They've been having some good miniatures come out of that Marvel game. And I don't know if I've seen Colossus. It seems like you should because he'd be
Oh,
awesome.
the newest one is it? What's it called?
I
Crisis Core?
yes,
Oh,
yes.
Crisis Core is the Final Fantasy game.
What? Okay, yeah, and they've had some good
Marvel
miniatures. That's all I know from that. I was like, wow, you got some good stuff coming out.
Crisis Protocol. That's it.
Yeah.
Marvel Crisis Protocol Colossus. Let's see.
Oh, you're
I
looking.
don't remember seeing him either.
Me neither. Me neither. So that's one that
It's,
it surprised me because you said it, and I was like, Colossus seems like he'd be ideal for that. Huh.
no, there isn't one yet officially.
Yeah.
No,
Oh,
there is
that's
one from Night Models if you can still find them for
okay.
the Marvel game,
Oh, yeah, yeah,
and I
yeah.
do have that one actually. But I can't see one yet for Crisis Protocol.
Well, they'll probably be coming out
No,
with
there
soon
there
enough
isn't one
then.
yet.
Something to
Yeah,
look
because the
forward
X-Men
to.
are coming out now.
Yeah.
There's a fair bunch of X-Men already, so he shouldn't be too long in coming out
No,
now.
because he was always a popular one. Popular enough.
Yeah,
He always
and he's
looked
only
forward
been
to.
made more popular with Deadpool.
Yeah, you're right. Yeah. Probably introduce him to a whole new generation.
Yeah, 100%. And it's a good thing as well. I always liked that he had a good balance between being the powerhouse of the team and being also the artist of the team
Yeah, very
because
true.
he was a painter.
Yeah, he was. You're right. I forgot all about that till now. How did you? Where were you in Brazil when you discovered comics?
No, I never been to Brazil. Just stayed around in Portugal, but we
Okay.
got the translations.
Oh, gotcha, gotcha. Is that where you found comics in Portugal?
Or yeah, yeah, 100%. And we got a lot of the translated stuff.
What was that like?
All the well,
Was it in bookstores? Like, where did you get your comics from over there? Did they have comic stores?
no, just no, just newsstands really.
Okay,
For most of the time I remember, and even now actually, I think there's only one actually big comic book store in the
okay.
vicinity of where I live. And even then it's like a 20-ish odd mile drive to it.
Yeah, yeah. That's what I was wondering. I'm like, hey,
So
were you in
that
different
well,
places?
there's
That's cool.
two.
Huh.
Yeah, but yeah, it's just newsstands for those translations. And once I figured out that that store even existed, I started going there instead and getting the originals.
Yeah, yeah. Huh. Oops.
What about you? What brought you into comics?
I can't remember. Yeah, comics for me came first, and it was the one that really stands out in my mind. Like I had ones before, but then one time I remember it was with my grandpa, and it was kind of late. It was like it was the original Secret Wars, and it was the one with like Doctor Doom like on the cover, and he's like kneeling and all tore up, and when I saw that comic, that one really like pulled me in. Like then I was like, okay, because I dealt with other comics before, but that one just stuck out. I was like, wow, I got to find out more about like how cool it was. And I that was when I started to really get into them. Like I had dabbled before, but that one kind of really pulled me in. And then from there, I was drawn to the art, and it was the same thing with like Dungeons and Dragons around the same time. It was just that art of stuff that's totally fantastic. You know what I mean? It was just like the crazy
No,
stuff. So you just got into it, and then most of comics, I wasn't that much into them for like the story. Some were cool, but it was mostly like when people start like just the art, and I loved like later on I started getting into like Art Adams and stuff and his work and everything. And I probably
yeah,
started like Neil Adams was like classic and really good, but yeah, there was a lot of some
no,
really
I get
talented
that.
comic
And
artists.
as a jumping point, Mike Zeck doing the artwork on Secret Wars is definitely a good jumping point.
Yeah,
Absolutely brilliant artwork on it.
yeah,
And
there's a
especially
lot of
for the
good.
time as well, because he had to get rid of all the influences from Romita Senior and whatnot,
Oh
and he's
yeah, yeah, he was
absolutely
trying to.
nailed it.
There was a lot going on with that stuff. Huh. A lot of what was that one? So that was I did that I was so disappointed. I don't know when did they release Secret Wars 2 was like after that a little ways. I think they did it like a couple years later, a year,
Yeah,
but
I reckon it was something like 4, 6 years, something
it
like
was
that.
something. They tried it like that, and
Uh, uh,
oh man, I could not get into it. And I was like, part of me wants to go. I haven't read the Secret Wars in forever. Part of me wants to go. I remember it. I always remember that one. There's a cover with the Hulk holding like this huge amount of stone on his shoulders and everything, like half the planet or something. But
yeah, I just looked it up. It was 2 years after the
it was,
original.
yeah, they were trying to cash in.
Yeah, definitely. It's always the way, isn't it? They find themselves a good crossover that works and try to milk it.
Yeah, and then they always like it seems like they I tried the new Secret Wars, and there was some fantastic art for some of it, like a lot of it, I think the main story, but I it just did not flow with what I would want, I guess. I don't read that many comic books these days. And so when I got that one, I mean, that was probably like I don't even know what it was, like 5 years ago now, or I don't even know when that came out, 6 years ago. And I got some of it, but it seemed, and they had it stretched through so many comics and everything that it was almost like hard to follow, and I just kind of like gave up, I was like, oh.
Yeah. No, they definitely do that a lot nowadaday because it's exactly because of that. They spread it out between all the different titles, and it gets super tricky to keep up with instead of just focusing, you know what, now
Yeah.
we're going to do this event. It gets its own book, and that's it. You only have to buy this one
Hmm.
to follow through the event. But no, instead of that, you get the title book and you get, I don't know, Captain America Secret Wars and Iron Man Secret Wars and
Yeah, they
Fantastic
had
Four Secret Wars.
everything.
And you just, can you not? I have to live as well. I have to pay bills.
And
I'm
they
not going to
were,
buy 10 different comic books for one plot per month.
yeah. And there was the other thing. Even then, comics are expensive right now. I'm like, I don't even know. Inflation's probably seen the same price or
Yeah,
whatever, but they seem expensive. I was like, dude, you go buy four comics and you'd be out $20. It's like, whoa.
yeah, exactly. And when you get a crossover expanding through, I don't know, 10 of them,
Yeah,
it racks up really quick.
yeah, that was pretty. I was seeing those prices. I'm like, man, that's like. and I get it, everything, costs more and everything, but it's just like that's a bummer that, to pick up, like I said, I couldn't get over. I'm like, yeah, 4 comics is like $20. Like, oh my gosh, it's just crazy. Some of them even more.
Yeah, it's one of the reasons I prefer to just wait for the trade paperback and get
Oh,
that.
absolutely. I could see that.
It just gets really expensive really quick if you don't if you're not careful with it.
What is, I did see, the only thing I've
But yeah.
seen, I don't keep up on them too much. I did see that they're coming out with a King Spawn comic. I think this Wednesday, actually. So another Spawn series is coming out.
All right, I've stopped keeping track of it when he became an angel way back in,
I
I don't know,
I
must have been
only
10 years
keep,
ago now.
yeah, I was only on Spawn for probably like the first year or two. That's probably what I have, maybe longer. I seen it, but I just happened to see it. I think it popped up on Twitter, that they had another series, and that was like the biggest seller of the year or whatever. So I might go to the comic store like this week just to pick one up. Why not?
Yeah, it's a lot easier these days because there's a well, we're living in a digital age, so it's fairly easy to pick
Yeah.
up a full run on Comixology or something. But yeah, it's definitely an interesting time. I don't think I'd be going back to Spawn now though, but yeah,
No,
by all means,
even,
if that's
yeah, if that's what you like. I branch out more
yeah,
towards, I'll follow some of like I look for artists that I like, and I love like panel to panel storytelling and all that kind of stuff, you know what I mean? So like good storytellers
yeah,
and things that I kind of dig, I just gravitate towards. So every once in a while I would go in and like check stuff out, just see what's coming out and stuff like that. But I like a lot of I'll check out. I'm more apt to check out some independent kind of type stuff. If I just see some random, like, oh, what's this? Let me look at it or check it out. I have seen more of that kind of stuff, smaller press stuff in the comic stores lately, so that's been good.
yeah, definitely. We've been having a pretty good emergence of indie artists, if you will, or some smaller companies,
Yeah,
and
yeah,
it's very, very refreshing because mostly their comics are owned by them as well, so they
yeah,
get full creative freedom. And I think that just usually leads to a lot more creative stuff
yeah.
coming out.
They'll get a chance to try more things. It's not like you're got Marvel property you got
Yeah,
to worry about.
yeah, like you have a great example in Invincible, which was fully owned by Ryan Otley, start to finish,
Yeah.
and Kirkman, Robert Kirkman, and it's a great run, start to finish, brilliant comic. They did exactly what they wanted with it, and now it's getting a cartoon adaptation, and it's been
Hmm.
great as well.
I like that one. I wasn't familiar with the comic at all, really. Like I think I've heard the name, you know what I mean, but I never like checked it out. So then I saw
Yeah,
the cartoon. I was like, all right, like they did something different with it. It wasn't like the standard stuff. So
yeah.
I was enjoying it.
Now they even for the cartoon there are small differences from that and the comic, but it's very very tiny differences. It's
Yeah,
not actually major, so it's a really good watch or a read if you prefer to read it.
yeah.
Very very good.
I used to, one of my all-time favorites. I never like it. It's one that bums me out because it's like my favorite. Yeah, I gotta say it's probably my favorite comic series, and it's half obscure because when Marvel like bought Epic or whatever the deal was with Epic, it was when Epic was a part of Marvel, and they put out a comic called Alien Legion, and that, like, reading it way back in the day, and just it was kind of like it was the one comic. back then that I remember where the main characters you liked would die, and so that was always my first thing. I'm like, it was like a Game of Thrones, but back then. So you'd have these like people that like you cared about. It's like, oh, I really dug this character. My favorite character, it was so horrible. He and I just remember. I mean, I'm an older teenager, but it's still like, man, what a waste! The worst way for my character to go out. He he got on drugs and then shot some innocent people by accident, and then they didn't put him to the death sentence. What they did is they basically stripped his mind, so he just became like an automaton. He can follow simple directions and like whatever, so like a partial lobotomist.
Yeah.
And so like that's what happened to my character. And then a few years later, he was like captured and killed and hung in some cave or something. And I was like, oh my god, it's like my favorite character, and he just like goes out in the worst way.
I just looked it up. I've never heard of this, but I'm going to try and find something to have a bit of a read because
Oh yeah, if
that's
you ever
definitely
do,
interesting. Where
especially the early ones, I do suggest. If you I probably have a I have a um see if you can ever come across any of the like the first series or whatever. Like they're really 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 good. And I'll look for even like extras. I'll see if sometimes I send stuff over there. I'll find if I sometimes I have Alien Legion #1s. I used to buy a bunch of them for no reason. There were no extra value in them, but I just liked them a lot, so I would like have just buy extra #1s. But they're just hard to come across because it's kind of obscure. But I really dug it. And I think it's
well,
Chuck Dixon who owns the property, and they were always in talks with movies and stuff like that. And maybe like 5 years ago or 6 years ago, they kind of re half launched it. But I just wish they would like do a almost like a relaunch. Like tell that world is like another one. It's just a whole bunch of different aliens. It's like the French Foreign Legion if it was a bunch of aliens. You know what I mean? That's kind of the vibe of it.
right, yeah, yeah, and the thing that you just said that anyone is under the firing range, it's just great because you never
Yeah.
know who to root for.
No, you don't. And
You can't get too attached because they might just be next on the chopping
that was
block.
my, younger, and you're reading a story you're into, and most stories you weren't like, if you were in Marvel comics or something, they weren't killing off characters really. You know what I mean? And so like this was just like shocking, and I was like, wow, I'm like I just lost a bunch of like people that imaginary people, but you still like their character, and you're like, whoa. But it was good. I uh I haven't looked around lately. Maybe I'll next time in the comic store. Maybe this Wednesday when I go and try to pick that up, I'll look for a few things.
Yeah, definitely. I've been reading a lot more manga as well,
I never,
and
I
there's
never.
not
What do you want? What are you
too
reading that
many
you
I
like out of
follow anymore.
manga? There's a couple people I know who like it. What are you reading that you're kind of enjoying?
Well, I'm still following Hajime no Ippo, which is a boxing manga. I've been
Okay.
reading that for quite a while, and it doesn't seem like it's going to stop anytime soon. And it's absolutely brilliant. But other than that, I'm keeping up with Dragon Ball Super and One Punch Man.
I think when
I
I
have,
looked in your Twitter, and I think I saw you
yeah,
post that boxing one, and the artwork did look really good. It seemed like it was pretty intense. I only saw like a few pages, but it actually looked really good.
I think I shared the basketball one, Slam Dunk,
Oh, that was the
which is,
basketball one.
uh,
Yeah, that's
uh,
what it was.
yeah, I reread it quite a lot. Every year at least, I try to give it a reread because it's
All
just
right.
fantastic storytelling.
That's
And me playing basketball is very much because of that manga. I read it as
really
an
okay.
early teenager, and it just stuck with me.
It
It's
is
absolutely
amazing how
fantastic.
stuff like that sticks with you. I mean, that's the same
Yeah,
thing. I'm here like doing this stuff is because I liked D&D and comic book art. You know what I mean?
yeah, yeah, 100%. Some stuff just has a really big impact on you,
Yeah.
and for me, in as far as real life effects go, Slam Dunk was it.
Yeah.
It influenced my choice of sport by a lot.
Yeah, I never read a comic about a sport. Come to think about it, huh? I never
Yeah,
did much
if
manga, but I know that you get a wide variety of story topics in it.
oh yeah, 100%. It's really great as well because exactly because of that. Because whatever your poison is, you'll very likely be able to find something that goes along with it.
Mm-hmm.
So if you're more into sci-fi, you can easily get some sci-fi titles as well, horror, superhero stuff, whatever, you'll find it.
Yeah, I always the and some of it. What used to really captivate me is a lot of like not necessarily like the speed lines, but like they would do a lot of forced perspectives and sometimes like the cityscapes and everything
Yeah,
were always just like, wow, there's like some incredible. I love
yeah,
the
like the fish eye and stuff. Yeah,
yeah, and that's one thing I take with me a lot through any type of art I do is the manga always had that it's the sense of motion and movement. You know, it was like it was super fluid. It's like man, they
yeah,
gotta try to put that in miniatures, like put it everywhere. Like they know how to do that like super speed and movement and energy and like all that kind of stuff.
yeah. I agree. The dynamics of it were always great, and it's just been refined over time. It's really,
Yeah.
really good. But stepping back a little bit into comics and mixing them with the hobby, have you read the Warhammer comics that Marvel has been doing?
So I picked up the first three issues of the Ultramarines one, and it was okay for me.
Yeah,
Like I go along with it, but I'm partially biased because of when I got into 40K. I I got into it. They did these like Realm of Chaos books, and it was like all in pencil, and it was really like it almost looked like I don't know, half a horror show. You know what I mean? So it was like really when it was really dark, and it was probably at its like darkest point in there with a lot of the artwork, and I fell in love with that. And I'm like, oh my gosh, this is like, there's nothing like it. You know what I mean? It was like, it was all tripped out, had a feel of its own. And so me, the closer you can go that way, it would be better. So I get biased because like the art style, I didn't think it was bad art. You know what I mean? I was like, okay, you can. That's like there's some cool stuff in
yeah,
there, and it wasn't my preferred style for it. In the story, I'm gonna probably pick up the next couple. I want to like get more like give it some more issues to kind of follow along. You know what I mean? And kind of see how I feel about it.
yeah.
Did
But
you pick it up?
the Ultramarines one is already finished. Yeah, the Ultramarines one is already finished anyway. I think it was five or six total.
Oh, so I only probably have a couple more issues to get. I think, yeah, I have three or four, so I probably only have two or three to get.
Uh,
I'll have to go grab them. I know the one place I know should still have them.
there are five. Yeah, that's five issues total for the Marnius comic.
Okay.
And Sisters of Battle just started coming out as well.
I saw that one. So like that one I was even liking more. I'm gonna have to check it out again. You know what? That's I will. I'll look for that. Is that one out yet or coming out?
The number one is already out. Yeah,
All right.
issue
So
one.
I'll look at the comic store for that on Wednesday too.
Yeah, it's. I guess that having started it a bit earlier, you'd be looking more to a grittier style, a bit more like oh, what was it? Blanchitsu.
Yeah, yes. Yeah. It leans
You,
I
you
lean
you'd
more
you'd want
towards
that
that.
dirtier aesthetic.
Yeah, yeah. Like just and so I'm not one of those people who's like, oh, he's gotta be this way and I hate it. It's just like it is I like all kinds of art, you know what I mean? But it's like, okay, if you're going 40K, it's almost like me, I say go what makes it 40K and go into that. There but that said, there was some
Yeah,
stuff I really liked in that book. Like I think the art was, they had some good drawings in there and everything. So I was like, okay, at least you didn't like totally botch it.
yeah, it's definitely got a lot of notes and tones from what you expect, but
Hmm.
it's weird because at the same time it's very comic book like.
Yeah, I know. That's the one
Well,
thing I was like, and I think the sisters. I don't. I only saw. I think the like one preview, but it looked a little. Gosh, I can't remember. It seemed like that one seemed a little like darker or a little more. I don't know what. I'll have to look at it again to see what I think.
we have a question here from Anne Anonymous. Question for both of you: do you have
Yeah.
a favorite comic manga that totally deserves a movie or show but hasn't yet?
Oh,
Uh, Good question, actually. Very good question.
that is a
I'd
good
very
one.
much like to get uh, Rat Queens. Rat Queens is very D&D inspired and has a very, very clever way of being very inclusive whilst not just trying to shove stuff down your throat.
Rat
It's not like
Queens.
Rat Queens.
Queens. Okay.
Yeah, as the name implies, most of the main characters are female,
Yep.
but it's not like it's here you go, have this. We're going to force them into being women just because we want
Yeah, they're not
women
trying to
protagonists.
shoehorn anything. They're
It's
just kind of a
actually
story idea. Gotcha.
no, none at all. I think it's just
Yeah.
a brilliantly fluid comic. It's it's also very adult in its themes. It doesn't
Yep.
treat you like a kid. It doesn't talk down to you.
Oh, okay.
It just tells you stuff as it would happen, and it's one of the most realistic, if you will,
Yeah.
representations of a fantasy setting as you can get.
Huh. I'll have to
I
check it
think
out.
it's
I
a
never
brilliant
heard of
comic.
that. Yeah, that's
Yeah,
good to
because
know.
it doesn't it's not all black and white as well. It's not like these are the good guys, those are the bad
Yeah,
guys,
yeah.
and that's it.
It has a
It's
little
got
more
a lot
nuance.
of gray morals in it. Yeah, I absolutely love it. And I do wish it would get a good movie or TV show, but I don't think it's gonna happen exactly because of those points.
Yeah.
Because it is quite a bit of complex storytelling, and some of the
That's
themes it touches on, I don't think we're getting away with it anytime soon, unfortunately.
yeah, I think that happens to a lot of those properties because like a lot of things can grow. Like they it's harder to bring it to a bigger market because it's a niche product. And not really necessarily
Yeah,
niche, but you know what I mean. It's just like there's different like that. No one was ever ready for the Alien Legion comic that I love. That like I think that would be a great animated series. It'd be a great movie. There's just like there's such cool things you can do with it because basically it's basically you're just doing it. You could do Saving Private Ryan in space. Like you just do it as serious as like a Saving Private Ryan, but you do it with a bunch of aliens, and it's like that's kind of what the gist is. And there was it was really good because I don't even know when it started, like 80s or whatever that was coming out, and they would have part of like their whatever empire they had. I think it was like the Galactic. I forget what it was called, but they would do the tone of the empire. So it's not like it was like political, but like the setting, and so there was a little bit of like the war story, like the story of what's getting you into the war and how some of the people are reacting and stuff like that. But it did it in a way that as a especially a young person who was into that comic at the time, you got the gist and the thing of it, but it didn't like quote unquote ruin the action. You know what I mean? You still got like a cool like action
yeah,
story, but then you also got they did a lot of like prologues and epilogues that I really liked that were just like slow little 4-page stories of what was going on, and it did the great job for me of like teasing the world. It's like that was I think one of the reasons I liked 40K when I got onto it and stuff was because in the rule books or like even in a White Dwarf, it would just have like little tidbits of story. Like I don't need the full story, just give me a little like glimpse, a little taste of it, and then I'll get intrigued into it.
yeah. And it gives you as well some creative freedom to fill in the blanks.
Yes. Yep.
Because you can be told in uh, painted in a white brush, telling you that, well, it's very depressing, it's all grim dark,
Hmm.
and everybody lives in misery, and then stop there and you can fill in the blanks of what that misery is by
Yeah.
looking at the models, by looking at the artwork,
No, that's
and
very
then you go, all right, so they probably eat recycled human paste like in Judge Dredd
yeah.
and stuff like that, and you just start making up your own details for the world, and it's great.
That's what I'm doing. I'm doing some work for Mantic Games right now, and I'm just finishing up. I got a couple days to finish some stuff, and that's what was fun with them is I had got the book, so I read up on like their world. You know what I mean? I was doing it for like Dead Zone and stuff, so doing a
Yeah,
lot of that, and that was like a good exercise because when you grow up reading all the comics and D&D and world building and drawing, like you're into it. You know what I mean? It's like, okay, what can I do and what's my view on this
yeah.
world and how does it like plug in? So I did some stuff that I'm actually really happy with for that. So that'll be cool to see. And wait, Iru says, "Oh my
No,
god,
I
airbrushing is
definitely get
awesome."
that.
So he was airbrushing while I turned it on. So I'm glad you're digging airbrushing. Most of the people I hear from do really like it. Good.
What about you? What would be a favorite comic or manga that you think deserves a movie or show but hasn't gotten it yet?
So I'll try to pass aside Alien Legion. So I'll put that one aside and let me think
Yeah,
for a minute. That's interesting. So they already I would have loved so I loved Thor like Journey into Mystery and Thor when that came out, but obviously they went and did that one. I did not think I was like they're gonna ruin Thor. I'm like he's gonna be the corniest one, and I was impressed that they actually pulled Thor off on screen. I was like, wow, kudos because I thought that was gonna be hot trash. So at least I got to
yeah.
see a Thor one, and let me think. There's got to be. I used to really love Moon Knight, but I wouldn't necessarily say he would be like tops for what would make a good show. Huh. I'm gonna have to. I'm gonna go. I'm trying to go through some old comics.
Well, he's getting one.
Oh
Moon
yeah,
Knight is getting one.
yeah. You know what? I
And
would
it's
love
not going to be long now either.
a cartoon of would be. Did you ever hear of Gru? Groo.
The Barbarian, is it?
Yeah, yeah. I would a Gru cartoon. It sounds stupid, but a Gru cartoon. I just love that. Sergio's artwork was always
Yeah, the Barbarian.
yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know if he ever did a cartoon. I don't think he did one of Gru. Huh.
Gru the Wanderer. There we go.
Yeah, they used to in all of, and wouldn't say all, but literally almost all his issues. And I don't know if anyone knows this. They would always have something like "This is the hidden message," and they would always hide it in the issues. And so, like sometimes it would be like different letters on different pages and all kinds of stuff. So that was one of the things they always did in that comic. I always remember looking for it when I would buy it, wanting to know the hidden message.
It's not something I've actively read, but I have seen. I know what you
Yeah,
mean, and it's very well known. I've just never
yeah,
really
yeah.
gotten into it.
No, it was that one I just picked up and it was like it's like a cartoony like romp, you know what I mean? It's nothing and it the way they wrote it was pretty good because it was just I don't know what degree of social commentary, but it's just like observation of like human nature type stuff, you know what I mean? And how this simple barbarian
Yeah.
interacted with people and how it turned out. So it was kind of more thoughtful than most would probably give it credit for. What did I like to draw?
No, definitely could see that because I remember the humor of it not being slapstick. It was
No. Yeah.
layered.
Hmm. And of
Obviously, it
course, he's
had
like a
some
dumb
slapstick as well, but
barbarian. Yeah. So
yeah,
it had it in there, but just not as the only thing. God, I'm trying to think of what else. So what's funny is most superheroes, even at the time. So it was funny. But the only thing, like, good thing about being like my age or whatever is like you saw the trash Marvel movies come out. Like you had David
Yeah,
Hasselhoff as freaking Nick Fury,
Nick
dude.
Fury.
So
Yeah,
like you know what I mean? Like how hard it was to get there, right? So and I dealt with the crappy costume Spider-Man, so it's like you and what happened is um I wasn't into them. Like I'm like most of them. Like you're gonna end up with a person in underwear running around a city. You know what I mean? It's gonna look just like kooky. Like there's no way around it not looking kooky, right? Um,
I
but
caught a rerun of the old Spider-Man show, and they were literally trying to pass that 3-inch rope as web. All right, man,
yeah,
crack on then.
yeah, totally. Was
He's
doing
shooting
that.
web. Look at it. It's 3-inch thick rope, man. Stop it.
They'd be webbed up with rope. But what's funny is when what was the one the main Spider-Man, was it Toby Maguire? Who was the first like new Spider-Man where he did the series of 3? Was it Toby?
Yeah,
I
Tobey
really
Maguire.
I really liked that movie. I was like, "Oh wow." I'm like, "They can do a superhero movie." That one I liked Blade, but that was different to me because it wasn't like straight um total costume. You know what I mean? Like tight underwear costume
Yeah,
type
yeah,
thing
yeah.
to see what they could pull it off. So it was a little different, but I really liked Blade. But I think when I saw that one on Spider Man, I was like, wow, that was like a good story, and it was done as a comic, and that was pretty cool.
Yeah, because Blade still had the Matrix look, if you will, just full leather, long jacket,
Yeah,
and all this.
yeah,
And Spider-Man 100% just gave us, you know what? There you go. That's your latex costume.
yeah,
Enjoy
yeah.
it.
This is the way, and they
Full
pulled
full on spandex. Go for it.
yeah, you got the spandex.
Yeah.
King Crimson, thanks for making it. Yeah, and then
Hey,
when Marvel, I know of course I'll be forgetting a lot of them, but for Marvel ones, when it was that Iron Man, when Iron Man came out, I'm like, wow, that was a great, like that was as good as you could get, as far as like a comic book movie. I was like,
yeah.
to me, I'm like, you captured the whole comic book thing. You got the right actor, right character for it, and all.
Yeah, 100%. That was definitely the perfect franchise launcher. He just booted everything into
He
gear, didn't
really
he?
did. That thing was out of control popular. It was about time because I like all the times they were like growing up, they're like trying the whatever Hasselhoff movies and you name it. You're like, man, they're never gonna do
Yeah.
something good.
Well, around that time we also got a Punisher film with Dolph Lundgren, and I honestly think it's a good Punisher film.
It's probably I'd have to rewatch it. It probably wasn't that bad because that's one you could pull off. You know what I mean? You don't need like it's not an
Yeah,
underwear thing.
yeah, it's grounded, isn't it? It's pretty much
Yeah.
just a shooting film, and you can get away with it pretty easily. But the guy actually pulled off the look as well. They dyed his hair black and just, you know what,
Yeah.
go there and shoot some people. It's what you do. You're an action star, not rocket science. Go on,
go
sorted.
do go do it. What wait. I
They
just
gave him like 5 lines as well for the whole film. So
yeah, it kind of works for that. Wait, there was another one I was just thinking of. Um, no, too late. It's gone. like, so well, and it's hard too. I'll be like drawing, and then I'll be thinking of something else, and I go to drawing, and I forget what I was just thinking about. What was the other movie? Gosh, there was
yeah,
something back then. I'm trying to think. We already covered Blade. Oh, the Edward Norton in the Hulk. They get panned on that one. I thought that was like one of the best Hulks. The animation for that Hulk was still like my favorite. I'm like that thing was just. I'm like that was Hulk to me, and his fight with Abomination, I would have to watch it again. And the animation probably isn't as good as the Marvel movies, but like the big battle
Yeah.
fight was just really cool to me. Like when they were like pummeling, I was like, okay, that was cool. Like that's the Hulk fighting, you know?
No, I think the biggest issue with that one was that the Hulk had no similarities to Edward Norton. Like it could have been someone else entirely instead of
I
just a
agree.
blown up Edward Norton.
Yeah, I agree with that. Yeah.
And even on the previous one, on the original Hulk, you could see a little bit of Eric Bana on it.
Yeah.
And obviously the Mark Ruffalo one is amazing. But on the Edward Norton, although I really, really enjoyed how he looked as comic Hulk or whatever,
Yeah.
but it
Yeah.
didn't look like it
It
came
was
from
him at
Edward
all.
Norton. And I think that was the biggest issue with it was that it just looked like a CGI model instead of a blown
Hmm.
up Ed Norton.
Yeah, that's a good point.
Whereas people are a bit more forgiving of the look on the first one because it was so early tech.
Gosh, what
Although it still looked like a muscular Shrek, but there we go.
yeah, because it's so hard to make them. They're like cartoons, and you're not like you're cheating with the
Yeah,
artwork, but you're not going for photorealistic and lighting and putting them in a world, and you know what I mean. That's a whole different ball game.
yeah. You have to really consider the color choices and
Yeah,
how it
exactly.
blends with the environment. Otherwise, it's just
Yeah,
stuffed.
yeah,
That's entirely your ballpark as well as the
yeah.
integration
Yeah, you gotta like.
and the blending.
And I learned, gosh, it's like so much just from doing this. I never really did like photo editing. I never until I just started doing paint. I was like, oh, I can put some sort of background that might look cool when I saw someone's miniatures. I'm like, let me try. And so that's just been a process for me. And what's funny is, you know, I've been doing art and like drawing and stuff, but never went to like the photo editing. And then I didn't really like look into like how it was done. You know what I mean? Because there's a lot of people who like Photoshop like amazingly on, you know what I mean, on YouTube and stuff. But I just kind of was like, oh, let me try this. You know, it's like I don't know what layers I was using. So I was like, and part of me, I'm glad I did, and I wanted to come up kind of with what my take on it was because I was like I view the backgrounds as like I want to sort of cartoony but yet sort of realistic. You know what I mean? I don't want it like to be like a total like hey this is a realistic painting, but I want it to be like it has a little splash of realism, but then it has like the cartoony and the brightness and the fantastic or whatever with it.
Yeah, I can see that because especially for Warhammer, as much as we can call it grimdark, there's always a lot of elements to it that are a bit of a tough pill to swallow.
Yeah, yeah. Oh man.
So you have to be aware that be aware of it and let it be there. Otherwise, it's just you know what? Nah,
Hmm.
you're trying to make me believe 100% of this, and it's just not gonna work.
Yeah, and it's just like I don't have a
Gotta take it
real
easy.
yeah, I don't have a just visually I find it a little like more stimulating, I guess. You know what I mean? It's like I have some variety and like try some stuff and get some brightness and
Yeah,
contrasts and a lot of the 40K stuff and I mean a lot of these I'm doing quick and there's a difference between if I take a lot of time and then if I was like really like okay, let me do and I haven't worked on any in black and white in a while and I really should. I love the black and white cuz that's partly to do with comics. Like I love just black and white line work from comic books and like that look, you know what I mean? And
yeah,
40K has some of that and it's a little different because it's more shadowed and whatever, but it's still like very similar, you know?
yeah. 40K does have a lot of grayscale in the codices,
Yeah, and the old school
but
stuff especially, yeah.
the pure black and white, like you used to get on the Ninja Turtles when they first started coming out as comic books.
Absolutely.
That's absolutely great work. That is.
Yeah, that was a classics coming out back then.
That's really really good stuff.
Trying to get a little on him.
Howard the Duck. Forge of Mars says, and that's a very good shout as well.
I thought they said something about Howard the Duck again. Wasn't there? I heard people talking about Howard the Duck recently, and I don't know why. I don't know if they're
Well,
trying
he
to.
shows up in
He
Guardians
was
of
in
the
the
Galaxy,
Marvel.
and also, yeah, and in the What If episode that just came out
Oh, I
this
haven't
past
watched
week.
the What If yet. I'll have to watch that. I forgot all about that. Huh. Good
Yeah,
to know.
the past episode was a What If based around Guardians of the Galaxy, so he shows up again.
Okay. Huh. Guardians of the Galaxy
It's
was
actually
the.
a very funny episode as well.
Is it good? I'll have to check that out. I
Yeah,
never knew much about the Guardians of the Galaxy. Like I knew a little just because I had bought a lot of comics back in the day and everything, but um I never
yeah,
like followed them or whatever. And that was one I thought the movies came out cool. I was like, oh, that movie came out like I didn't know kind of what to expect or whatever, and it came out good. I was pleasantly surprised with that one.
yeah. I mean, I was never expecting a movie about a walking tree and a talking
Yeah,
raccoon
me
to be
neither.
ending
That's
this,
the
but
thing.
super pleasant surprise. Super pleasant surprise.
Yeah, you hit that right. I wasn't expecting that. Like
Yes.
the raccoon, he's talking. I'm like, man, you're reaching there.
Yeah, yeah. I was looking at it and it just really okay. Are we doing this then? Sure, but it just works.
Yeah,
They actually made it work.
because that's how I felt. I was like, wait, are you really like you're just going all out and gonna throw everything at it? And like, nope, they pulled it together. So I was like, kudos. That was a big surprise. They were on a roll with those Marvel
Yeah,
movies. I was disappointed
definitely. It was.
when when
Yeah, go
Agents
on.
of Shield came out. When Agents of Shield came out,
Yeah.
I had such high hopes. I thought they were going to tie stuff together better or whatever, and I was bummed with that one. I gotta admit.
Oh, same. I was fully expecting it to be a complete connection to the MCU, and no,
And no, there
they
was
just
like
have
almost
references
nothing.
to it and get ignored,
Yeah,
which is a shame because they pulled out a really cool Ghost Rider for it as well.
they did. That's one of the few. I stopped probably a little bit before then, but I ended up seeing the Ghost Rider because people had talked about, and that was good. I was like, wow, that was a cool character, and I remember those
Yeah,
episodes.
I was honestly surprised at how well they pulled him off.
Yeah,
Him
me too.
and oh, what was the villain they got? Absorbing Man.
Oh,
That
okay.
was pretty decent as well.
I don't think I
And
seen
it's a
Absorbing
shame that
Man.
it's in limbo.
Mm-hmm.
You didn't see that one. It's
No, I
not a
didn't.
great episode, but the characterization for him is pretty decent,
Okay. Huh.
and the actor looks the part as well.
Oh yeah. So you're into the whole comic book thing like I was for sure.
Yeah, still try to keep track of it, mostly now from the MCU perspective because it's a lot easier than to just
Yeah.
collect 1,000 comic books per month.
No, absolutely.
But
It's that price and everything is so limited. That's one thing. I haven't been. Maybe I was to the comic store looking for comics. I don't know. Whenever the last time I was there was probably when that issue 3 of the Ultramarines comic came out. So that was probably the last time I was at the comic store or whatever that was. But I'll go back now and
yeah,
I look for some like smaller press ones and see what's coming out, and I'll try to pick a few things up.
yeah. If whenever I do end up going to a comic book store now, I just pick up some trade paperbacks of story arcs that look interesting, and that's me done. I'm not
Yeah,
no chance
that's the way
of
to
getting
do
back into a pull basket.
it. Yeah, yeah. No, I
Just,
know. What was the other
oh,
thing?
let's get this on my pull list, shall we? No, no, we're not.
No,
We're definitely not doing that
the I really
because
like.
that's a vicious cycle.
It is. It was okay when they were like even up to $1 or $1.50, you know, when it's like $3
Yeah,
or $5. Like, whoa, okay. Yeah, because I mean, I remember
we're
getting
going to
fat
be
stacks of
taking it easy.
comics. Yeah, you'd get like 20 comics, and that's what you'd get for like your $20. You know what I mean? You'd be like, okay, you're like, I spent a lot. I got spent
Yeah,
$20 on comics. You'd be like, dude, you spent $20 on comics? You know, it's like that was so crazy amount. Now you get like four.
exactly. It's just not really worth it anymore. Well, to me at least.
No, no, and I think it's just the pricing thing, and then you know how people can get access them and all that. It's like, yeah, it's almost like online or. And I'm a sucker for a printed book. You know what I mean? Where it's a printed like
Oh
comic.
yeah,
I love that, but I still think in the modern how online is used, you just have to market towards that. You know what I mean? You have to at least have a plan for that, or like a big section of your market should be selling it online or whatever, you know?
yeah, and luckily the platforms are in place, so not only is it quite a bit cheaper, like the one I mentioned before, Comixology, which is I
Yeah.
think the wider known of them,
Yeah, I hear
but
that brought up a lot.
yeah, there's it's a lot easier as well to pick up story arcs through there. So if you just search up on its own search
Yeah.
engine, Secret Wars, like we were discussing earlier, it'll just give you the Secret Wars ones.
Yeah, I should go look
Oh,
on
what's
there.
going on here?
I don't have I was looking for I had to clear off so much room. I don't even have any of the comic pages on here from before. I was going to show you some of the stuff I was drawing with that. Like I was going to do, and I still will end up doing a story because I used to draw a lot of comic book type stuff. Just loved it. But that's one thing that at a certain point I'll get to is some sort of story. Like I know I'm like okay, like right now, I'm doing the paint overs, which if like people keep getting them and stuff, I'll never stop. But it's also like, all right, I got to be able to do something I can sell. You know what I mean? Like do a little property and like make something and all that. And it's been in the back of my mind forever. So that thing I'll make something soon enough.
And I've seen those initial drafts you've posted on Twitter, and they're looking really good. To be fair,
Right on.
I really like the green toned ones.
Yeah, yeah. Get these guys.
I don't think you named the pieces yet, but
No,
yeah,
no. I'm gonna
where
do
is that?
some stuff. It's just this right now, like the whole thing with the paint overs kind of spawned and grew kind of on its own, and I'm like, all right, make sure you keep doing that because that's what people responded to and enjoyed, and I love it. So I'm like, all right, let's see how far we can go with it.
Yeah, I just looked it up on your Twitter. The battlefield one with the skulls and the
Oh
I
yeah,
imagine
that's
vultures or
you're the one
crows
for
in the
the
background. I
t-shirt.
think that
Yeah,
one's absolutely brilliant.
thank you.
That's easily my favorite of the four.
Here,
Just
which one is it?
nails it.
Wait, let me. Oh, I can look over here. Wait, I'm gonna pause a second. I'm gonna look for something. Da, da, da. My saved. I'm always like cleaning off. I got so many files saved. I'll send this one over. How do I do this? Oh, here's one. I'll show this real quick. Let me switch screens.
For anyone on stream that doesn't know what I'm talking about in regards to its clothing line, there's a link.
So that was one when I was like messing around with a comic story. I was drawing that comic page, like a double page splash, and I was gonna put they're like in a cockpit, so you're gonna have the glass overhead and be colored, so you'd see what they're in, and that's the other things, kind of like leaping and stuff. So I was like, I was gonna mess with it, and I started working on stuff, and I have a couple different story ideas. I was like, well, I want for me, I was just like, okay, go with drawing. So a lot of it is like practice and like especially comics. It's if you're gonna put out anything like a comic, it's like usually pays to be fast. Like you got to be able to get it,
Yeah,
done. So like, or else it's never gonna happen because it's just an absolute epic amount of work. You know what I mean? And I have a tendency to really want to add all kinds of little details and like stress it and add this and add that and go back and add more. And so it's like finding the right mix for me. You do any of that type of stuff?
well, I'm a poor drawer, but I dabble every now and then.
Okay,
Just, but it's mostly for fun. I'm mostly into the painting side of things.
right on.
Just painting miniatures. I mean,
Yeah, absolutely. No, that's definitely.
I I don't think I have any. Well, let I'll go to my pile of shame and show you something from DeviantArt.
Right on.
It's not recent, but hey yo, have a
Can you
look
post it to
here.
Twitter?
Come on. Yeah, I think I can. Where am I? Oh, that's the most recent one, I think, and it's from 2015. So there we go.
Oh man, still.
Uh,
Am I?
let's
Oh wait,
copy that.
oh here. I want to see it. Let's see. Should have finished.
There we go. Posting the link now.
All right. I still got to finish. I'm gonna end up lighting this bad boy. Oh, I know, puppy. Oh, we're already way past. I didn't realize we've already been talking for an hour and a half, dude.
Yeah,
That was good. I haven't talked to anyone about Street Fighter or like comics. I haven't talked comics in a while, so that was fun to have you on with talking about comics. That was cool. I'm gonna have to. I'll put
definitely.
something. And I'm still thinking about what other properties. I'll have to make a tweet about it later. I might even dig out some old comic books to find out what properties I think would make some good comics. That was an interesting question.
Yeah, and in regards to Street Fighter, there's a program you can use to play online. I'd be happy to give you a few matches as well. It's called Fightcade.
Is it? They have like a
I'll
regular
send you
one?
a link on on Twitter, and you
Oh,
can
so
go
wow,
from there.
they got everything out there. Well, where are you at? You're in the UK,
Yeah, but
right
the
on.
net code on Fightcade is good and it'll hold.
Yeah, yeah. No, that's cool. And then I don't know, like that was glad you could join me today. That was kind of short notice and everything, so we got to get on there and paint over
No,
one of the
my
listeners
pleasure.
for a while.
My absolute pleasure. Thank you also for doing up that miniature of mine.
No problem. I will. I'm probably gonna end up. I'll tweak
Amazing.
a few things on it later, and then I will send you the finished higher res version so you can have it. Well, I'm very glad I
Much
could lend to.
appreciated.
Not a problem. We'll have to do this again sometime. I'm gonna go. Puppy's staring at me with guilty eyes, and I know it's gonna be all. So I'm gonna go take care of him. I probably gotta let him out and feed him and all that. So thanks to everyone who joined. Really appreciate that. And we'll be back on Wednesdays. I'm gonna try to do this one. I don't know if I'll do this one every single Sunday, but most Sundays I'm gonna do a live stream because I love talking to new people. Like me and you never spoke, but it was like great to talk comics and all that. So I had a lot of fun. And we'll have some
Absolutely, same here.
more people on, and then